Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Several factors continue to impede the industrial action being taken by the St. Lucia Fire Service, including the intimidation of young officers within the force by the senior officials. Also, the president of the St. Lucia Fire Service Association has confirmed that 7 workers have been placed at headquarters in an attempt by government to diminish the effects of the Fire Service Association's industrial action. Tresha Lionel has more in this report.
The president of the St. Lucia Fire Service Association on Thursday morning made it his duty to take account of how many firefighters reported to work at headquarters after announcing strike action on Wednesday. The leader of the association says that he is satisfied that personnel decided for the most part to stand in solidarity by staying off the job. However, he has confirmed that in light of firefighters' absence, fire-trained personnel have been sent to the facility in an effort to alleviate the issues which come with a mass absence of officials who form part of protective services.
That's what I want fire officers to understand. It does not undermine, because the concern here is not for any effect on the economy or the nation. The concern is the effect that we have been enduring for 45 years. We're tired of it. Yes, you can bring in people to work. That's fine. That does not take care of our issues. We're still affected by it. So while they're working, we're suffering. And that's what we want dealt with. Our sufferings. We want the employer to understand that you have an obligation to create an environment that is conducive for all fire officers, and you bringing in people to work does not take care of those issues. As a matter of fact, you're throwing water in our face by saying you can stay home and we're going to bring additional people and we're going to pay them, while you continue to stay home. We have no concern about the issues that you have brought before us.
It has been reported that around the island, stations are either closed or operating on skeletal staff. Despite the action, airports also continue to operate as normal. Felix speaks to the new firefighters who he believes are being intimidated by their high-ranking officials into reporting for work.
I want to say to fire officers, especially the new staff, that we have your back. You are members of the Fire Service Association. The Fire Service Association has given a mandate, has given instructions, and you are to follow those instructions. I hear people saying that senior management at the Fire Service can override those instructions. No. The instruction is from the Fire Service. I'm being told that certain officers are being intimidated, that they need to remain on duty or else, and all these kinds of things. And even the employer have a responsibility in this to explain to management that that is not their function, that the discussions on this is between the Fire Service Association and the employer.
A meeting between the Fire Service Association and the Labour Minister, Stephenson King, was held on Thursday evening. This, according to the president, is not enough. He says he wants the minister at the top.
This really has to be dealt with by the Prime Minister, and I hope that the Prime Minister has been briefed. I have spoken to him directly through the media, of course, and I hope that he is concerned. I remember back in 2014, when his administration was in opposition, he came publicly supporting fire officers and asking that our issues be dealt with. So now he's in the seat of Prime Minister and running the government of St. Lucia. I expected a much quicker response from him.
Felix reiterates that all unions are in this predicament together. It is not a competition.
Whatever happens in the nation affects every one of us. And this is the real issue here, that we must understand that we are all in this. This is not even a firefighter's issue, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect the fact that people are being brought in and paid and so on. Those are taxpayers' monies being used to pay additional people, while fire officers could have been just dealt with and allowed to come back to work. So this affects every one of us. And to consider teachers over nurses or fire officers or police officers, I think it's just, muddying the waters and making this look like we're all in this together.
Hot 7 News will provide further information on what transpired at that meeting held on Thursday. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
In other news, the government of St. Lucia has issued a statement saying it is committed to its workers despite the level of misinformation being circulated.
The government of St. Lucia takes the opportunity to restate its commitment to the general welfare of all St. Lucian workers. The core of its principles include the boosting of morale and the improvement of the productivity of the state. Since 2016, the government has addressed several long outstanding issues related to health and safety of employees within the public service and at our nation's educational and medical institutions. This is an ongoing process which will require continued dialogue with all stakeholders and the commitment of the requisite financial resources. The government reaffirms its commitment to the process of engaging workers and looks forward to the expeditious conclusion to the 2016-2019 public sector wage negotiations. The government remains confident that the cabinet-appointed government negotiating team, the GNT, and the negotiating parties can reach consensus so that together we may move forward. The government is aware that the GNT has been meeting regularly with the various union representatives and also has several meetings scheduled with the parties involved in the negotiations. The government notes that the responsibility for successful negotiations lies with all parties acting in good faith to reach an outcome which takes into consideration the current economic climate and improves the working conditions of all workers. The government of St. Lucia is concerned about the level of misinformation which has been circulated of late in relation to its policies. This matter will be addressed in the appropriate forum. The government calls on all involved in the ongoing negotiations to be responsible and allow the process to continue in a manner that will be beneficial to the continued development of our nation.
It is a busy time in Vieux Fort as the Philip Maslay grounds is undertaking beautification and preparation works for the coming of the Prince. Workers are on the ground setting up the stages and speakers for the arrival of the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. Their Royal Highnesses will visit on the 17th of March as guests of honor at an event to mark the country's 40th independence anniversary. Several activities, including the District 6 sports meet scheduled this week, a football match, and cricket, have been postponed in honor of the event. The royal visit to St. Lucia forms part of a Caribbean tour in celebration of the monarchy's relationship with its Commonwealth realms. The Royal Highnesses will visit 6 countries and 1 overseas territory, undertaking over 50 engagements across 10 islands. The tour begins in St. Lucia, followed by visits to Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Grenada. Furthermore, at the request of the British government, their Royal Highnesses will also visit Cuba to highlight the growing bilateral relationship with the UK and showcase some of the cultural links between the two countries. This will be the first official visit by a member of the royal family to Cuba. In other news, the Consumer Affairs Department holds a high succession rate for consumer redress. More in this report from Marvin St. Louis.
Director at the Consumer Affairs Department, Guillaume Simon, explains the process to receiving redress can only begin if the consumer reports the matter to the Complaints and Investigation Unit at the department. He says if the rights of the consumer have been infringed, there will be a form of intervention.
The point of intervention at my department can only start if the consumer lodges a complaint, and when they do, then we approach the business persons. And I can tell you that about 87% of the time, we usually solve those complaints. So the process is, again, come in, lodge a complaint, have all your proof of purchase. If you have your invoice, your receipt, there must be that link between you and the product and the supplier. if it is a product or if it is a service, there must be that link, and that proof of the receipt is very critical in terms of identifying proof that there was a consumer transaction between the two parties, the supplier and the consumer. And the department will lend support in terms of trying to get redress for the consumer.
The director noted that a unit is tasked with dealing with these consumer issues.
We have a unit, complaints and investigations unit, specifically charged with that responsibility of redressing consumer issues. And the process is simple, really, that you come in or you call and you come in and you fill out a form. So we have to get a statement of fact in terms of what the problem is. We have a cadre of officers who investigate on the consumer's behalf.
The Consumer Affairs Department will join the global community on March 15 by celebrating World Consumer Rights Day under the theme Trusted Smart Products. From the Ministry of Commerce, International Trade, Investment, Enterprise Development and Consumer Affairs, I am Marvin St. Louis reporting.
ECHO has put forth an impassioned plea for music writers and musicians to be active members in the association. As the association approaches the date for its annual general meeting, Director of ECHO, Buffalo Odlum, says it is imperative that members show up and allow their voices to be heard on matters of concern, in particular compliance by business entities to music rights that affect their royalties.
We are appealing to all registered members and interested parties to come to this meeting. You have asked for change. We have looked within, we've looked without, we've looked into the industry as it pertains to you and your copyrights, and we have made some changes. We want to share our new thrust with the members. Our business is to collect revenue on behalf of our members, and what we have done is that we have gone within the organization, we have made structural changes, we've made administrative changes, we have gone through a professional journey to make sure ECHO is very efficient and can act on behalf of the registered members.
ECHO says members must help shape the new policies and direction for the organization as it seeks to effectively represent its registered members. The organization's management touts its administrative changes as the vehicle that will drive growth as ECHO embarks on a more modern thrust. The AGM will be the first for the newly appointed manager, Davis Joseph.
We are looking forward to nominated directors who would be able to contribute to the future goals of ECHO. Some of them are technological, others have to do with change, dramatic change that might come through bylaw changes. So we need this futuristic look to allow ECHO to remain relevant in what it's doing. So my thing is that if you have never attended a meeting before, an AGM before, then this is the time to do it. Because members are asking for change, and the only way it could happen is with their involvement, if they actually make their concerns known in a formal setting. So we're encouraging as many as possible to come in and make the change.
The ECHO AGM is scheduled for Saturday, the 16th of March at 10 a.m. at the CSA Center. You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.